our second day, we are going to work with adding more interest to our background by using brushes. To start, I'm going to go to File, Open, and click on my H drive, and I'm going to find my Photoshop file. Now I have a lot of files in mine, so I could change it to show me just Photoshop files. I can scroll over here. Mine was saved as your name. Of course, yours will be saved with your first name, replacing your name or your first name last initial. And I'm going to go ahead and open that document up. It does take a little bit of time to read and open Photoshop files. So you'll see as my progress bar goes along here. We are going to be working with brushes and changing our brushes from just the typical circle brush that we have available in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a new layer by clicking on this new layer button down here at the bottom of my layers palette. This way, as I work with my brushes, I'm on a completely separate layer and I'm not affecting any of my other layers. I can easily delete this layer or turn it off without ruining my other layers. I'm going to click over here on my brush. You want to be careful that you do not click on your history brush, but that you're on the actual brush tool, or B, on your keyboard. You'll notice that you have some brush options that come across top here. For further brush options, you can click on the Brushes palette in your toolbar on the right. Now, these are fairly standard brushes. I'm going to load some other brushes, and I have a couple different ways I can get to there. From here, I can click this little arrow and go down to Load Brushes. If I click on the Students Drive, Courses, Art, you'll find that there is a folder labeled Photoshop Brushes. Here are quite a few different options for brushes. I'm going to load this Morning Coffee brush set. When I scroll down now to the bottom of my brushes, I can see that I have added those brushes to the bottom. I can adjust the size of the brush by moving the slider. I can also adjust the size of the brush by using the bracket keys on my keyboard. To change the color of my brush, I'm going to use the foreground and background colors here. Right now I'm on black. I can double click on that color and pick any color in my color picker that I want. So now I have purple. I've added a purple splash. This type of brush does not work well to brush across the page. If you make a mistake, you can use your history palette here to go back and click up to 20 different steps in your history. Now, with your brushes, you can also change how they blend with your background. So maybe I'm going to do one that's darken. Depending on the brush, changing the mode will look different. I can go back to my brushes to load brushes from my brush palette. I'm going to click on the options here, load brushes. This time I'm going to use splatter brushes. I might go ahead and change to a different color as well. You can continue to load brushes to see what there is, till you come up with some things that you happen to like. If you want to change the opacity of your brush, you can do that as well. Once you have your image the way you like, you want to make sure that you go ahead and you save. Now you also have the option, since you did your brush strokes on a new layer, of changing the layer blending mode for all of your brushes, or changing the opacity of the entire layer. So you can change the blending mode for just the brush itself up at the top, or the whole layer.